Today's podcast gives us the human side of history. Betty, you have a fabulous background. Your life, you've been an executive, and I don't mean like you were the secretary at the executive. You were running or critical to running a very large corporation, which shall go unnamed. You were in the Cleveland Orchestra Chorus. You've taught at a variety of colleges about business and business ethics, if I'm not mistaken. And then you got involved with the Tri-C Encore class, and you seemed to hit on a vein of gold that people keep coming back to your classes. They're fascinating. It's not just history. This happened on this date and this and that and so on and so forth. You are talking about the people and their lives. Tell me about these classes that you're teaching.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ted. Appreciate being here this afternoon. What I do is I teach about people. Sometimes people will look at the class as just the title or whatever, and they'll say, "Oh, you must love history." Ted, I hated history as a kid. Grade school, I hated. I had to memorize all this stuff, which didn't mean anything to me.
George Washington was the first president, and then the next guy was John Adams, and then from this date to this date. And
exactly. And so what I teach at Encore is people, about people. What did they do? Why did they do it? How did they do it? Was it any good, what it was that they did? What was the outcome? Were they for the people? Were they out for themselves? So I teach people. And to give you an example, one of the classes that I teach is the Tsars and Tsarinas of Russia. I call it something like, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest Tsar or Tsarina of them all?" And people go, "I don't know. I only know a couple." So we start out in that class talking about the people, the first Tsars and Tsarinas, all the way up to the last ones, which were Alexandria and Nicholas. And, of course, all those in between. And we develop a criteria. And on that criteria, each time we talk about a different Tsar or Tsarina, the students mark down, well, did he do this? Did he do that? And so on and so forth. And one of the people that I talk about is Catherine the Great.
Okay. So there's a lot of history, but there's a lot of legend behind some of these Tsars and Tsar, right? So how do we separate the factual history from the tall tales, or do we?
We need to, because if we believe everything that is, for example, in the novels about Catherine the Great, you really begin to wonder. And so
With great power comes great oddness.
Well stated, Ted. Way to go. Absolutely. But with Catherine the Great, I mean, she wasn't even Russian. She was German to start off with. She had goals. And so we take a look at what were her goals. What did she want to be when she grew up? She didn't just wake up one morning and go, "Hello, world. I'm going to be the best
ruler of." Yeah.
Exactly. She didn't do that. And so we talk about everything that got in her way. How did she end up being this Tsarina of Russia? And we also talk about what made her great. And did she call herself great? Actually, many people don't realize that towards the end of her life, she was approached by some of the higher echelon in the Russian Empire and they said, "Catherine, we would love to give you a new title of Catherine the Great." They said, "Will you accept that?" And she said, "No, I will not accept that title, because it is not for me to determine that I am great. It is for posterity to look back at this and determine whether I am or am not.
Now that sounds like a notch of humility rather than arrogance or presumption, or how did but history does record that she's great. Why what's the human side that makes her great? Why did they want to say that she was great? Why do historians say she was great?
Ted, you'd have to take my class in order to figure that out. If I tell you now.
You can give us a little preview.
Oh, just a little bit of a preview. Well, one of the things she actually did was she changed the rules of the game. By that I mean...
not easy for a woman to do.
Oh, no. And especially since people like Peter the Great and others before her established a ruling that said, if you, Mr. Popper or whomever it is, want to start up an enterprise, a company, a manufacturing company, you have to come and ask permission and give money to me in order to make that happen.
Well, it's not like today at all.
No, not at all. And so she said, the heck with that. She said, if you want to start a company, a factory, do it. I will help you.
Ooh, so is she a bit of a populist, or?
Oh, I have difficulty with classifications because people that classify, I always say, what do you mean by that? My husband gets mad at me all the time when I say that.
Well, she seems very, hang on, I'm going to do a little pun, pro-proletariat.
Ah.
Is that a fair?
Possibly so.
Okay.
We'd have to discuss it over coffee.
No, we can always do that. But the czars and the czarinas are not the only, right? There's so much rich history to explore there.
But people, there are people, Ted.
People.
Who make history. But it is about the people and their motivations.
Well said. But there's a class that you've also done about Napoleon and Josephine.
Oh, Napoleon and Josephine. Do you want to know how they got together?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that question, Ted.
Because here's two people in history that we remember.
Well, Napoleon, as people know, he won a lot of wars. Do we really know anything about him? Oh, much. We know much about him as the person. He, in his young life, he was very handsome. He had chestnut hair. Women just craved running after him. He won a lot of battles early on in his career, and he kept going up, and up in his stature to such a degree that it was time for him to take a wife. And you might go, wait a minute, his military career, and he gets up in a military career, and he needs to have a wife? It was the thing to do.
You have to produce an heir.
And so he had a friend of his and said, hey, do you know any women that I can marry? Or something like that. And
there might be benefits to an arranged marriage.
There might be. And so this gentleman by the name of DeBoss said, oh, yes, I have one. Her name is Josephine. And take her to the Palais, the Palace restaurant.
Oh, okay.
And oh, by the way, that restaurant still exists. It's under a different name. So Ted or anyone watching this podcast, next time you go to Paris, send me an email and I'll tell you who to look up there. And when you go there, ask to be seated at the table that Napoleon and Josephine sat at that day.
Oh, you know people.
Oh, yes.
The benefits of being a business executive.
We won't go there. But and so to make a long story short, we talk about how they got together because after the first date, Napoleon fell in love head over heels with Josephine. Josephine couldn't stand him. And
Wait, are they talking about Josephine and Napoleon, or are they talking about me and my wife?
no comment, Ted.
Okay,
no
sorry. Go
comment.
ahead.
No comment. No comment. And so with Josephine, she goes back to her boss basically and says, "This is not going to work for me." And he said, "Let me tell you, Josephine, you got two choices. Number one, you marry this guy called Napoleon, or I'm going to put you out on the street with the clothes on your back and your kids next to you, just the way I found you 5 years ago. It's up to you to make that choice." She suddenly fell in love with Napoleon.
There you go.
And the rest of the session and class on that goes on to talk about the interactions between the two and whether she was a help to him or not as he moved through and higher up in his career. And what qualities does she have, and did she have? What qualities did he have?
There's the human relationship side of history.
Bingo. And that's what I teach.
Was she the one who advised him to winter in Russia?
No. However, there are stories, there are true stories about that, but that's for yet a class another time.
The other one that you and I have discussed before, which I find fascinating, talking about marrying kings, is Henry VIII. And I don't know, is there a movie we can say Cheaper by the Dozen or Cheaper by the Half Dozen or something like that?
Probably.
Tell me a little bit about your exploration of Henry, and not just his relationship with one wife, with all of them. 6, yes, if I'm remembering correctly.
Absolutely, 6. Well, the first thing we start out with in that class is, why did he need 6 wives? What was his criteria for a wife? Good heavens. So we go into that, and each one of them has different qualities. And what we do is notate those qualities as we talk about each one of the wives. And then when we, at the very end, we'll make a determination in our minds, who was the most compatible? Who was the most beautiful? Who was the most intelligent? Who was the stinkiest? Oh, there was one wife he couldn't stand to be downwind of. Oh, my. Unbelievable.
Well, this was before bathing was commonplace, wasn't it?
Yes, and bathing was not commonplace during this era. Number one, the river and the source of clean water. And I don't mean the water around the castle. That is definitely not clean water. But a source of clean water far away. And quite frankly, it was easier for many of these women to just ask their garment maker to make them a new whatever they wanted. Some of these people had 200 gowns made a year.
You can't just throw that in the rinse and wash.
No, it just doesn't make it.
Right.
And the dryer obviously was broken. Actually, not constructed yet.
Wind, yes.
Exactly. And one of the things that we do is at the very end see whether or not a group called eHarmony is in agreement with what we say. And people are thinking, eHarmony? What does that have to do with anything? That's a dating website. There were some interesting, unique biographers about, I don't remember how many years ago, who got together and came up with the qualities of each one of the wives.
Okay.
And they took it to eHarmony and said, we would like to find out how compatible these women were, according to you, with Henry the Great.
Okay.
And so they put it on in, and the machine popped out who was the most compatible. And so we'll then choose on our own in class who we thought was the most compatible, the most intelligent, the stinkiest, and so on and so forth, and see whether or not we agree with eHarmony.
That's fascinating. And my reading of history, whether it's Russia or England or France or wherever, China, wherever it is, at that level, rulers of countries, there is sort of a matchmaking, political, sociological,
Yes.
monetary. There's all of these things coming in. Love is sort of the last consideration in all of these
If it's
things.
considered at all.
Right. And so there are countless there's a many factors that go into deciding who's going to be in charge and who's going to be married to who's in charge and all of these other things. And that's just it seems to me an endless source of things that you could explore in these classes. And I imagine people bring to the table, right, whatever you're talking about. I imagine this brings up a lot of discussion amongst people. Well, I had always heard, or how true is it about this legend or this mythology or whatever. And so, there's these grand classes that we've known each other for a dozen some odd years now, that I've watched people attending your classes on a fairly regular basis. But in addition to that, you are also coordinating something at the Tri-C Encore program called the Speakers Series. In your spare time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, in my spare time.
Tell me a little bit about the Speaker Series.
Sure. As far as the Speaker Series is concerned, it's something unique with Encore. And I invite in speakers, that is subject matter experts, coming in for the 7 weeks. It's a different speaker every week. And to tell the audience their specialty and inform them about what's going on. When I contact speakers, potential speakers, I'll tell them you're going to have an audience of 55 and over. However, they're intelligent. They're wonderful. They are go-getters. They want to know what's going on in the world. They want to know anything and everything about your topic.
Tell me just, maybe some of your favorite speakers over the years that you've had, or some of the most surprising or engaging people that were like, oh, I got to have more or whatever.
Oh, I had one former diplomat.
Ooh.
And the title of it was "What Do," emphasis on do, what do diplomats do? And that just...
They host parties at the embassy?
Oh, no comment. No comment, Ted. So that one was absolutely great because it's getting into politics. The country, I won't mention the country, but she ended up being a persona, what do they call it, persona non gratis.
In the country, or
well, she was a U.S. diplomat to that country.
Yes,
and so that country labeled her as persona non grata. In other words, don't come back.
Right. Can we have another diplomat, please?
Something like that, right? And another one we had.
Was it because she was doing something bold, or something that the something outside of the like at a social level, or was this a diplomatic kerfluffle?
Kerfluffle, I like that word. That's pretty cool.
Every once in a while, I can pull out a little gem.
Different classification. Different people would classify, probably what she was doing differently. And frankly, I don't know exactly, what it was. And
politics is involved, and cultural things, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Another one was the architect, the sculpture for the Superman sculpture, the one that's going to be put downtown.
Okay.
He came on in. We had people asking for his autograph. And again, I bring in, topics. NASA coming up is going to be, the title of it is "What's Up with NASA?" Okay. And they're talking about putting a generator, nuclear generator on the moon and so on. So they're going to talk about some of the new things, like that. Also had somebody talk about all the weird stuff that's happened at sports games.
Oh, wow. Just like, I couldn't tell you who it is, but there's a video that keeps going around on the internet of the pitcher throwing the ball in baseball and the poor bird flying right through the path of the baseball.
You got the idea.
And there's all kinds of crazy things that happen like that with you.
So that's for 7 weeks. Then we got somebody different in.
Tangentially,
each and every day.
I read the other day that the moon got its own time zone recently. When
really, I'd never heard that.
A nuclear generator on the moon. They have plans for the moon, and they have to have a time zone because the gravity's not the same there, so the flow of time is a little bit different there. But we're way off on a topic. I'm sorry. That's another podcast for another day.
Question for you: do you like music, Ted?
Sure, love it.
All right. Do you like art?
Yes.
Oh, did you ever go to the art museum? Of course you have.
Yes. As a Clevelander, I've actually gone to the Cleveland Museum of Art.
Great. What would you say if I told you that when you walk through that door and you take a look at all the paintings that are there, they're all the same?
In what way?
In what way? They're all made up of color, line, texture, form relationships. They're all the same. The only thing that makes them different are the people. The artists or the musicians, depending on your focus, they're the people that make the changes of how they're going to use the color, how they're going to use the line, how they're going to use the texture, what they're going to do with it. It is each individual artist and each individual musician that makes that artwork different. Other than that, every single piece of art, every piece of music, whether it be rock, whether it be classical, is the same. And so we delve into the people and how they have manipulated the color, line, texture, and form relationships to make them unique, to make them different, to make them different.
So there is a difference between Monet and Manet.
Absolutely. Besides just the letter change,
right? The brush strokes even though the subject matter of their painting was very similar because of the background of that person or the mood that they were in or whatever, all of these things contribute to different. This sounds like a completely different class. Tell me about this class.
I lost.
You just did.
I was going to say, I think we were just there. Did I miss something, Ted?
What's the name of this class? In case somebody wants to. That's, I guess, what I'm asking.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And it depends on, because I have about 2 or 3 different classes that deal with how they manipulated the color, line, texture, and form relationships. One is called The Missing Faces of Women in Art and Music. And another is Art and Music. Is there a difference within each?
Wow. That's fascinating. This is almost an endless series of classes that
It can be, because it's all about the people and what they've done, how they've done it, why they did it, and so on.
I don't know how much you like the Beatles, but at a certain point, Lennon and McCartney decided as youth, when they would publish songs, they would write always 50-50 split. Everything was Lennon and McCartney, but a careful listener can tell the difference between a song that John Lennon wrote versus a song that Paul McCartney wrote, even though all the same musicians are playing on that song. The subject of the song, the musical instruments that are being used, when they come in and when they come out, and those are all part of it. But if you're not careful, you're just looking at it. It goes, well, this was written by Lennon and McCartney. They must have sat down in a room together and came up with this thing, but they didn't. Is this the kind of thing that you're talking about?
Yes, it actually is, because what you're talking about is that they had a different style. But in getting a different style, what are they manipulating? Color, line, texture, form relationships. And sometimes people say, Betty, there's no color in music.
Yes,
Well,
there
yes, there
is.
is. It's called, is it a flute? Is it a guitar? That's called tone color. And the line of the music, is there melody? Is it 20th century music? So it gets back to, what have the people done with the tools that they have been given in music and art?
There's 12 notes. There's 8 notes in a scale. There's
You've got it.
4, 4, 3, 4.
You've got it.
That's it. What a fascinating set of topics. I hope that more people will be coming to see you soon. This is great classes. Thanks for sharing this sort of stuff with us today, Betty.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.